Okay, this is Bob Schulteis with University of Missouri Extension in Webster County, and today we're talking about how to get an insect for identification. If you have an insect feeding on the plant and you don't know what that insect is, your University of Missouri Extension Center can help identify that for you if you can't find that information yourself, either through a library or on the internet. And so what you want to do is capture those bugs live if you can. Some are harder to do than others. This bug is pretty easy to catch. Catch it into any kind of, if you've got a glass container, glass or plastic container that's got a lid, poke some holes in the lid to keep them alive. But it's actually easier for us to identify these if they're in some sort of a plastic bag. It's best if you don't squash them, because if you can capture them live, we can kill them if we need to, but it's easier for us to identify them if they're live and see what kind of insects we're actually dealing with. It's also important to identify these before you put any kind of pesticides on. We know a lot of people will go spread something like carbaryl, which is 7-dust, on the plant when they first see that, and that may not be an appropriate use of that insecticide. What we find, for example, on tomatoes, aphids tend to feed on the underside of tomatoes, particularly in warmer weather, and 7-dust is one of those that has no effect on aphids. So there are other products that will work on that. Something like a jet of water squirted on the underside of the leaves can blow them off and allow the lady beetles in the area to eat them, because they are a predator insect and one of the beneficial insects that we have. Or if you're what you want to do is look at, is that a chewing insect or a sucking insect? In the case of aphids, that's a sucking insect. That's why 7-dust does not work, is because 7-dust is a stomach poison and they actually have to ingest it in order to kill them. With something like this, which we've identified here as a Japanese beetle, that is a chewing insect, and 7-dust can work on this, but actually liquid 7 will give you better coverage and provide better control of these guys than the dust will. And it's important to, whenever you're applying the insecticide, watch out for beneficial insects like bees. So you want to treat for these. If you're using a pesticide, treat in the evening when the bees are back home, and that way it minimizes damage to them.